Hi, Pat the podcast editor here. What is the true secret to success? Well, today, business anchors, Dan and Lloyd look to point you in the right direction as they offer up tips on how to be more successful in whatever industry you're in.
Tell me why you're so successful.
It depends, listeners. Do you want like fluffy emotional stuff or do you want business stuff? Because that's the mixture we're going to have.
Now, there's no shortcut to success, but there are little things you can do to get yourself on track. Sometimes it's as simple as eating right or getting that extra hour's sleep.
This is one of those episodes where I really hope people listen and try and change one small thing about any of these pillars. If you're listening and you go to bed at like 1 a.m. and you think, do you know what? I'm going to try going to bed at 11 p.m. I think it really helped.
So what are the positive steps you can take starting today to get that little bit closer to success? Stay tuned to find out. Right, let's strap in. This is episode 67 of the Business Anchors podcast.
We're just a couple of business anchors. Welcome to the Business Anchors podcast. This jingle is slightly too long. This jingle is slightly too long.
Are you successful, Lloyd?
I think so, but I'm completely aware that answering positively to that question makes me sound like a
bell
knob.
end.
Yeah. And also, a lot of people think success is a different thing. So if success is 4% body fat, not successful.
Yeah.
If it's loads of money in the bank, not successful.
Yeah. What do you class as the like pillars of success then in your... have you thought about that?
I think business anchors will be sick of me saying what I think success is in life.
Okay.
Do you want to hear it again though?
Go on, just quickly then.
2 words. Happy.
Yeah.
Healthy.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's being happy and healthy and supporting those that you love to be happy and healthy. There's obviously lots that go into that.
Yeah.
And some people, and certainly to an extent, you need a certain amount of money to be happy. If you don't have enough to have a home and have heat and a luxury
Maslow's
once in a while
hierarchy
to
of needs.
make you feel like, oh, that was nice, then yeah. And if I said sentences with if.
Oh, you're not doing that thing where you don't end sentences.
Yeah.
Pat's going to hate you.
Yeah, I know. What would you say is, because I think maybe you have a different view on what success is potentially.
Well, I guess there is different pillars to success. For me personally, so like career success is quite important to me, and I'm quite motivated by that. So I'd say Knowlton Marketing has had a level of success. I remember looking at some of the stats of like how long small businesses live and stuff, and how long until they end.
Yep.
Can't remember any of them, but it basically, we're doing all right, and we're a team of 11 now, growing, and we're
I guess my so that's one of your pillars, I assume.
that's only one. Yeah, that's just the first one.
But just so you're aware as well, like maybe it sounds to me like that doesn't matter, that doesn't come into what I think success is, because I'm saying, hey, but to me,
That contributes
this
to that, maybe.
business employing people is helping them potentially be happy and healthy.
Yeah.
And us having a successful business is helping us. So that's what
Yeah.
I mean. Like these things all come into what's important to me as well. But good pillar.
Yeah. So
how
that's
many
one.
pillars have you got then?
I've got a few. I'm not going to go into loads of
okay.
detail, but in terms of career-wise, but I think we're nowhere near reaching our potential at the minute in terms of where I think we are going to get to.
Yeah.
We're on that journey still, and so we're not there yet, but we've had a level of success there. I think another thing that's important to me is actually it's with your thing, health, like and fitness stuff, and going to the gym. I feel I've got a level of success because I've been going consistently, but again, I'm not where I want to be, basically.
Do you think you'll ever be where you want to be, though?
No.
I was going to say, I don't think people ever are.
But it's the classic, it's the journey, which sounds really cringe and cliche, but it genuinely
I suppose
is.
that's the point. You're at a level of success with your health and fitness because you've been exercising regularly for a number of months.
Years.
Years. Well, might have been a few breaks. But you'll probably never feel like you're yes, I'm the healthiest I could ever be, because you can always do more, can't you? But that's, like you're saying, the journey, you're definitely in a really positive place with that.
And I think like being a good dad, being a good fiance, again, not where I want to be, but I think I'm doing an all right job.
Way off with those two. God, terrible fiance and dad.
But going back to this episode, so to the listeners, I think we've had a level of success, and I thought it would be good for us to dissect the kind of attributes and the things that we feel we've done well to reach that kind of level of success. We've done a lot of episodes in the past. We talk about all the rubbish stuff we've done, all the mistakes we've made, all the stupid things we've done, which is, go back to the previous episodes to listen on that. But for once, we're actually going to try and it sounds a bit douchebag, and look at all the great things we've done.
I was going to say that actually. It could, like this, I cringe a bit when I'm like, I'll tell you the things we've done to be successful. But like you said, because we try and be honest, we actually talk a lot about the shit that we do and the things we need to get better. So I suppose it's quite nice thinking, this is stuff we've done well, and it might help other people.
Yeah. So I think we've got a few different points each, and I guess let's just roll through these and go one at a time. Do you want to go first?
Okay. Do you want me to?
Go on, yeah. Tell me why you're so successful.
It depends, listeners. Do you want like fluffy emotional stuff, or do you want business
Practical.
stuff? Because that's the mixture we're going to have. So shall I go for it?
Yeah, go on.
Okay. First thing, empathy. Most important thing in life ever, and in business. So, a kind of simple definition of empathy: the ability to understand and share the feelings of another. Mm-hmm. So any relationship in your life ever, this is crazily important, because the actions that you take have effects on everyone around you. And if you don't understand what you're doing to other people and how other people around you are feeling, it's really hard to have the best relationships you can. And I think it's just hugely underrated in life and in business.
How do you get good empathy?
How do you empathise? We've spoken about this before, actually, and I can't remember how I said to do it before. So maybe I'll give different advice. I don't know how useful this is, but actually, actively, if you're taking action, right, I'm going to have an appraisal with one of my employees, and I'm going to tell him that I'm not happy with this, and I'm really happy with this. Thinking, how is that person going to feel when I deliver this news to them? Actively making yourself think, if I was them hearing that from me, how would I feel? Just to make sure that you're communicating things in a way that are going to be the most beneficial to everyone and get everyone to where they want to be, rather than just think, I want to tell them this, so I'm going to tell them this.
I remember the specific example you shared in the previous episode, which was ages ago.
Oh, what was that then?
I don't know how I remember this. You gave an example of you're driving to work and there's someone who like cuts in front of you and you're beeping them like, what are you doing, you wanker? And then we said, empathize. You never know, like someone close to them could have just died or something terrible could happen. So rather than trying to crash into them and like road raging, actually thinking, oh, maybe they're going through a terrible point in their life.
I did say that, didn't I?
That's the exact example.
I remember. That was a classic Business Anchors moment. God, that was really good.
Just as a point here, because we've had lots of people join recently, lots of new people I've noticed listening to the podcast. Welcome. If you haven't listened to the previous episodes, there's loads of well good episodes before this one. Yeah. So go and listen to them.
You should probably, listen with all your mates as well. Yeah. Get them to listen, but on separate devices so it counts as more listens.
Cool. Okay, that's a really good
one. The first one, empathy. Developing your ability to use that, and it's underrated.
Action step. Be proactive in thinking how others feel before dealing with things. My first one is having an internal burning motivation to achieve greatness.
Oh, cheesy.
I wrote in brackets. It sounds cheesy, but it's true. But I think having that's a really cheesy way to say that, isn't it?
Sorry. I need to reflect on this. You've literally written in our notes, having an internal burning motivation to achieve greatness.
Yeah.
That is on another level. Not just an internal motivation. It's got to be a burning motivation.
I wrote it for kind of comedic effect and impact, Lloyd. So
good. It's achieved that. Sounds ridiculous.
But no, it sounds ridiculous. But what I mean is having an internal motivation to achieve success. We're talking about what are the things that have made us successful to the level of success, whatever we are.
It's mainly been my burning motivation.
No, but I think I've always had an internal motivation to achieve something. I haven't always known what that is, but I've always like put myself all in on things and wanted to. And currently with this business, we both are like we want to make this work. We want to grow. We want our team to grow, and do really great work for our clients. And I think having that if you haven't got some kind of internal motivation to achieve success in whatever pillar health, families, whatever, your career, then you're not going to achieve it.
So trying to develop that constant motivation to basically put enough effort in to improve things and achieve things.
And I think if you haven't got that, something I always try and think about is where am I trying to get to? And like remind yourself of that point. Let's say let's talk about relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say you're the point you're trying to aim towards is the best boyfriend or girlfriend in the world. You want your boyfriend or girlfriend to be the happiest ever with how you treat them.
Yeah.
So that's your end point.
Good end point.
Whenever you're thinking, I don't know if I can be bothered to make an effort and take them on a date or, do the dishwasher that they get annoyed about. And again, I'm not perfect at this. I'm giving myself this advice whilst I'm saying it. Think of that end point of where you want to be and remind yourself. And then you're like, I do actually want to get there. So I know I need to do these little steps to.
Interesting, because it's like, I think, well, does anyone have a burning motivation to do the dishwasher? But like you're saying, if it's something that's actually really important to you and it's a step towards that, then I can see how you could develop that motivation.
And I think a lot of people moan about their situation and the situation they're in. And I get, some people it's not their fault and things. But I think if you're complaining about something, but you're not motivated to get to the point where you're not going to be complaining, then you need to really take a long, hard look in the mirror and say, like, do you really want that thing? Do you really want to be in a better situation? 'Cause if you do, you'll get up and make an effort. I suppose
if you're struggling to get motivated to work towards something as well, it may be that if you really reflect on it, that's not what you want.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
That's why you're not being motivated. You need to think, actually, what am I aiming for? What am I trying to achieve? Because if you're saying, I want this, and over like 20 years you just never do anything towards that, you've got to think, well, do you really?
It's like I always have, this is slightly different, but I always have things on my to-do list. I've had a couple of things on my to-do list that I've been on there probably for 2 months. And each day I haven't done it and I cross it out. And eventually I'm like, I don't really think I want to do that. And I don't think that's what we want to do.
Are those points about being a better fiance and dad?
Yeah. They get pushed way down the line. So that's my one about motivation, Lloyd. Tell me, what's your next
my
point?
Next one is sleep. So I do think there's like a lot of the gurus talk about sleep, and some of them are like, only get 3 hours sleep, and some of them actually say, no, you need to have loads, and it will make you the best at everything. I guess to me, this is about the marginal gains, these different things you do in your life that make small differences to get to your end goal. Yeah. And I've noticed in myself over the last couple of years that basically sleep, I need probably more sleep than average to function optimally. And rather than just staying up late on TikTok or watching the next episode of Peaky Blinders, two things I've been enjoying lately, I need to go to sleep earlier to make sure I try and aim for 8 hours a night. And the difference it makes to me, so I can have not enough sleep. You'll probably say, you're grumpy and stuff, because I am. But I can still function in like the day-to-day, I've got this to-do list, right, I'll get through it. What I can't do when I don't have enough sleep is have the brain power to be kind of
doing it
using the full potential of my brain, looking at the bigger picture, making these big improvements and driving the business forward. I can do I've got to do these things on my list, but I can't do, I guess, what it takes to really achieve success, to drive improvements and think, I don't have to do that, but I'm going to do this thing that's going to make this better. Yeah. I think without sleep, my brain doesn't go to that place.
I totally agree. And this comes on to my next point about regular exercise. I've noticed the last year I've probably been the most consistent with the gym ever, or since, in like the last year. And the one thing I've done is, not always, but most of the time, is made sure on a school night I'm going to bed at like 9, half 9. Because I know if I make myself go into bed then and know that I've got to get that sleep, I get up for the gym the next day. Why are you laughing at me?
No, I'm not laughing.
Okay, sorry.
Well, I think I was laughing a bit about you saying school night. But, yeah.
But yeah, I think that's a really... And one more point, one more tip that you've shared before from Atomic Habits, the book you read, about getting your stuff ready the night before. These small habits that I always get my bag ready the night before because I know that's one less annoying thing to do in the morning when I'm waking up at like 5 a.m.
Yeah.
So that's something else.
I would say also, just as a bit of a caveat, even if I get 8 hours sleep, if I've had a couple of pints of beer, that sleep's not going to be good quality, and I'm still going to feel rubbish.
Yeah.
So
don't drink, kids.
Yeah, but that's honestly, so in my teens and early 20s, obviously well on binge drinking, great, really good,
Loved it.
And as I kind of got into my late 20s and early 30s, my drinking alcohol, I've had times where it's been a bit more like, a couple of drinks, a couple of glasses of wine at home. Yeah. And I realised now I don't do that as much because it really affects my sleep. Yeah. And then I'm rubbish at everything in life and not successful.
Yeah. I feel like I'm still in the binge drinking stage.
Yeah, it's okay, mate. You're in your early. Oh, well, no, you're not, are you?
Late 20s now.
No, but it's balance, isn't it?
Yeah.
Everyone, you're much more healthy than me in general, and eat better and exercise more.
But binge drink more.
You binge drink more. Yeah.
Go on. So that was my next one: regular exercise and stuff. So go on, Lloyd.
Oh, I'm going for another one.
Yeah.
Okay. Support.
Ooh.
So this, I realise, fluffy. This is a bit of a shit thing to say if you're listening and you don't have much support. Just going, this has been great for us. But we mentioned it a bit in the last episode about stress, actually, about how having support and speaking to people really helps. And if I'm completely honest, I couldn't and wouldn't have had the level of success I currently have without the support from you and without feeling safe and supported by my kind of friends and family network. So I guess this is hard because if you don't have that, it's not as easy as some of these other things to go get it. But I guess trying to seek out a relationship where you can feel that comfort and feel like, oh, I'm safe and I'm supported, so I can do this. And that's, I almost didn't say it because it's not necessarily something you can work on as easily, but I want to acknowledge that actually I think it's a really important thing to achieve success. I think there's very few people, well, I don't know if there's anyone that achieves high level of success purely on their own, from their own brain and just doing it all themselves. If you think of the biggest entrepreneurs in the world and the wealthiest people in the world, they've got support of like thousands of employees, if you know what I mean. Like none of us can do this on our own and achieve great things just
I think
on
we're
our
very
own.
lucky to have the support we had. And it does sound out of order, you telling people that because if they haven't got it.
But I mean, even, you know, like I said, like we have the support of brilliant employees and our team now. And, you know, we have to pay for that support. So it's, you know, they're
not just here to be our mates.
You can't just hire friends to support you. But I mean, that kind of thing is so important, having people around you to help you achieve the things that you're trying to get. We have a brilliant team that we pay for and friends and family that we don't pay for.
Yeah. My next one is eating fairly healthily. I think, and this just, when I think about this more, it seems more and more logical. When you think where your energy comes from, it all comes from what you put in your body. And if you're putting, you know, you've had it before and I've had it before. When you eat at McDonald's, I'm not saying I eat McDonald's. I do eat McDonald's.
Yeah, every day.
But when you eat that stuff, you feel really good for a second and then you feel terrible and like horrible and no energy.
You get all that, salty and fatty. Oh, that's so nice. But and when immediately when you stop, it's like,
I noticed a big difference when I started doing, I have a weekly food shop for my home food and I do an extra one for work, for my lunches. And when you buy that food that's good, you know, I hate waste as well. So if I bought it, it's definitely not going to be wasted. I'm not going to get a McDonald's and not eat this thing. So eating that healthy food, I think, has made me feel better. And again, I'm saying fairly healthy because I do eat absolute rubbish sometimes. But in general, I think...
I definitely need to improve that because I think the things we've spoken about so far, actually, a lot of like kind of things that you think of outside of business. So sleep, exercise and eating healthily, but they just make such a big difference on everything.
And I think when you listen to other more established podcasts that, you know, like some of the best podcasts in the world and watch videos, they talk about all of these themes. So like this is, and it's our experience as well.
When the most successful people are talking about it a lot, you think actually there's a common thing.
But this is one of those episodes where I really hope people listen and try and change one small thing about any of these pillars, Because if you
stop going to McDonald's, fine.
no, but if you're listening and you go to bed at like 1 a.m. and you think, do you know what? I'm going to try going to bed at 11 p.m. I honestly think that, or I'm going to do a weekly food shop of healthy stuff rather than going and getting, you know, a meal deal from somewhere. I think it really help.
Yeah, I think so.
What else have you got for the listeners, Lloyd?
One that relates to last week's episode as well, I think, really. You know, we spoke about stress. If you haven't listened, obviously now you're going to have to listen to that whole episode as well.
Yeah,
now I've
that was actually a
referenced
really good one.
But I think stress makes you shit, basically, at stuff. It's very hard to be successful if you're ultra stressed all the time. And so my advice would be
Listen to the previous episode.
try to be as laid back as you can. Like, we all stress ourselves out with things that don't matter, and it doesn't help us achieve what we need to. And I think the more, I suppose you can't be, I say laid back. If you're literally like, nah, nothing matters, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like that far laid back, it's not good. But I think for me and my personality type, being laid back and not letting things stress me out that don't matter allows me to focus on what's actually important. Because so many, and I've got friends and family members, and you know, a colleague annoys them, so then every day they go into work, they get themselves hyped up, like, oh, I hate when they eat loudly or whatever.
Yeah.
And you think, like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, just move slightly away or put your headphones on.
There's a lot
or
more
whatever.
important things than that.
Like, you can stress yourselves out with stuff that is never going to help you be successful in any way, is only going to drag you down. So I think if you can be laid back and accept little stresses.
How do you, if someone's listening, they're thinking, I kind of do that. How do you identify the things you're stressing about that aren't important? Or is it just most things?
Well, a perspective, I think, is a big thing. Actually, perspective is my next point. So
there you go. Okay. What a segue. What an accidental segue.
So perspective. So to take this to an extreme level. So for me, Dan will take the piss out of me for mentioning this.
Charity.
Working with the homeless that I did for a couple of years.
You haven't mentioned that before.
Helps you identify the things that you take really seriously and stress out about that don't matter.
Yeah.
Like when you're dealing with someone and they're like, I've been living on the streets, I'm addicted to this, and I really hate my life. Then when you go back home and it's like your wife's left a cupboard open, she always leaves open.
Yeah.
You're not going to
Does
go,
she leave cupboard doors open?
She's done that again. This is so annoying, because you're like, I'm so fortunate that is my problem.
That you have a cupboard door.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I suppose you can think of that in a business sense. I'm so lucky that I'm stressing about how the profit's slightly down this month, or I've been 5% less productive. Like, if that's your worry, you're in an extremely good place. So I think that perspective's really certainly allowed me to be more laid back and stress free, because it gives you a real shift in mindset. And if you remove that stress and panic, it allows you to be as productive as you can be and as successful as you can be.
Yeah. I remember when I used to watch Gary Vee content. I haven't watched it in ages, but he used to always say, you know, his extreme examples. He's like, go in a care home where everyone's going to die and speak to them. And he says that none of them are sort of saying, oh, I wish I would have, bought that pair of trainers that I didn't get. Or they're all like, oh, wish I would have spent some more time with my family and things like that.
Nice. So I'm using all mine up. I just used 2.
Oh, wow. I've got a couple for you.
You've got a lot.
So a few more. These are going to be more kind of quick fire ones. So having a business partner that has an opposite set of skills in a business context, I think has been hugely beneficial. We've got completely opposite sets of skills, although our values are more aligned. Our skills are very different, so it helps grow this business because I can focus on what I'm good at, you can focus on what you're good at.
And I think extending that point to make another point that I think you've written down, so I'm stealing it.
Yeah.
But when you then hire people that are better than you at things, and so business partners complement each other so you can achieve more, then hiring people that have complementary skills that do things better than you can physically do really helps. Yeah.
I think another one, we've mentioned this in previous episodes. If you haven't listened to them, go listen to them. But how we, mainly you, always question why. We're a video and social media marketing agency. Traditionally, these kind of companies do this in this way, but you always ask why. Why are they doing it like that? Why have they got these huge production teams when really they don't need that much and they could pass on a cost saving to the
Why
end
do you think
client?
that's important?
You're not going to do this, are you? I think it's important because okay, so
Yeah, sorry.
let's ignore that.
Yeah, all right.
So always asking why. So
Why?
if you're just doing everything because that's how everyone in your industry does it, question why. There's better ways to do things.
Constant innovation, if you ask why, because
Yeah.
you either realize it's the best thing you can do, or you change it.
Yeah.
You realize it's not, and you improve things.
Another thing, genuinely having good intent. Intent is a big one with the things we do. Like, I fully believe and I know that our intent with everything we do with this business is to try and better, the clients we work with, our employees' lives, everything we're doing. Our intent is, we're not thinking, let's try and, do this so that we can make extra money and they don't get this, or, our intent is always good. So no matter if sometimes things go wrong, things do go wrong in business and in life, we know that our intent is right and we're trying,
I think that's really important. There's been a couple of things recently. There's been focused. As a point, I want us to, as a business, to be able to increase pay to our employees as a whole. Really, like, we're on a journey to try and push that. But I think knowing that our intent is to do that and do the right thing for the team, I think makes all the decisions much easier and the communication much easier. Because I think if, like, say we were secretly, let's say we were like having business meetings and like, what we want to do is increase your salaries, and then we went back and were like, oh, we've made this profit, so you just take half of that, I'll take half of it, and let's not ever. I think it's the beginning of a lot of problems. And I think even if you can't do the perfect thing, if you know that your intent's right and you're working towards it, and it's the same we've had stressful moments of, if a client hasn't been happy with something, if you think, actually, we tried to save loads of money and not really put the resources in,
then you'd feel rubbish.
Then you'd be like, oh, crap. But
I think that's causes stress as well.
Yeah. If you know the intent is completely pure and there's no malicious, there's no sort of negative stuff going on, you're like, oh no, we've done our best here.
I also think there needs to be action as well, though. Like, having the intent to increase everyone's salaries or do a great job for our clients without action, that's not good enough.
That's a good point. You can't just go. You can't just
we're
think
really hoping that happens.
Yeah. If you just think it and expect everything to be fine, in the end, it's going to be shit.
My final point is resilience. I think in business, lots of things go really well. Lots of things go really badly, and being able to overcome those challenges where things don't go right and building a thick skin and resilience will help you. Because no matter where you are in your journey, you're always going to have to overcome problems and overcome problems and overcome problems.
Yeah.
They're never going to go away. So if you have a bit of a problem and then you're like, I want to give up, then you're never going to achieve the success you want.
If I understood what resilience meant, I reckon I would think that's a good idea as well.
You don't know what resilience means? Resilience is when you're...
Resilient?
Yeah. But so if you've had things go wrong, then you're not just giving up. You're resilient, so you're going to fight through it and continue. And you're going to be successful rather than, I'm going to give up.
So a little failure or something bad happens, you just go, all the world's against me, rather than keep going.
Yeah.
And okay, cool. Resilient. I didn't know. I've never heard you say that word. Yeah. Nice.
So there are my points. Did you have any more?
I don't think so. I think I've given away all my secrets.
Yeah.
And there's, just to be clear, there's so much more to be successful, and that we've got so much more to learn.
Yeah.
But I think it's really cool for any of us to share these kind of things that we've had success with. I listen to podcasts to other people sharing how they've had success and what's helped them. So hopefully for some of the anchors out there, this will be helpful.
And if you had found it useful or you've enjoyed any part of this, please post about this on social media and share the link to Business Anchors, because it helps us get more listeners and helps us reach more people and helps us get more clients and helps us grow with Knowlton. So it's all about us, really.
That's a real butterfly effect there.
Yeah.
Nice.
Everyone's a winner. It's your win-win-win-win-win approach, which we've spoken about on previous episodes.
Yes, everyone's a winner. Have a good day, evening or night, whenever you're listening to this. We love you all in a non-creepy way.
Goodbye.